welcome back to the Retro Wave. I am your host, El Tiburon, back here again with my old buddy, my old pal, Mr. 24/7, Mr. Dance Chino Dance, Mr. One Night Dance, Mr. What else? I just paid almost $5 for gas. We got Sexy Chino here. What's going on, Chino?
Cool. Thank you for having me again. You know, it's like it's fun times always coming here. It's an adventure. It's a very different things that happen all the time. You don't know where our conversation is gonna go. That's a fact.
Yep. Well, you know, last time I had you on, we were talking about retro TV show themes, and we were joking that we always, no matter what the topic is, we always go back to wrestling. And this one, fittingly, is going to be about wrestling, so we'll be right at home.
Yep, right at home. So we won't be off the track, but I'm pretty sure we might get off the track here and there because somehow we always throw the nostalgia here and there of different things.
Yeah. So, like, you know, this podcast started last year, 2021, in June, talking about our favorite WrestleMania matches. We've kind of come full circle because we're gonna be talking about WrestleMania this podcast episode, but with a twist. We're gonna be talking about our not so favorite WrestleMania matches.
Exactly, and it's for many different reasons. So that will be interesting by itself.
Yeah. So you know, for you as far as wrestling, it seems like wrestling's picked back up, right, with WPW and other indie companies you wrestle for, right?
Yeah, things are getting better now for Wrestling Pro Wrestling, which is a lot of fun, and the other companies, you know. So yeah, I'm getting back on that horse, or do we say, that wrestling road trip again. But yeah, hopefully things keep getting better, and I'm just gonna put my name out there just like everybody else.
All right. Well, I think with this episode, there's a lot of meat on the bone, so we're gonna jump right into it. But first, a commercial break.
It is better to give than to receive.
Give it to him good when WWF WrestleMania slams out of the arcade and into your home.
To thine own self be true.
With the most true-to-life wrestling you've ever seen.
Love thy neighbor.
But sometimes love hurts in the World Wrestling Federation.
Do unto others.
Do it to him first. WWF WrestleMania the arcade game for leading home systems from Acclaim. No pain, no gain.
We are back. You remember that game, WrestleMania the arcade game?
Yeah, I remember that, and I even remember the arcade, actually in the arcade, and trying to get the last character, which they said it was only like Adam Bomb was only in the arcade. It wasn't in the PlayStation.
Was that true?
I don't know exactly, but that's the myth of it.
We might have to test it out because I as you know, I have a Raspberry Pi which has the arcade game. So, and I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I never saw it, but like if we can pull it out, man, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. I remember I had the PlayStation, the one you brought up, the PlayStation one, and I had a friend named Juan, which one of our listeners, Francisco, probably remembers him, Juan, and he lied to me one time. He wrote, you know, back in the day when you would write down the fatalities for Mortal Kombat on a piece of paper. Oh, I found out how to do Raiden's fatality or Sub-Zero's. He's like, oh, I found out that you can unlock Jake the Snake Roberts and I don't know who else in that WrestleMania game, and he wrote down on a piece of paper. And I remember I was at home like up whatever the code he gave me, and I was like, man, this doesn't work. Never calling, and he lied to me. Of course, there's Jake the Snake Roberts is not in WrestleMania the arcade game.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, the myth is about Adam Bomb being in the WrestleMania arcade, the actual arcade. The other systems did not have them, and the other systems were actually didn't have all the players. At least for like, I think the Super NES, right? Because I think the Genesis had like Yokozuna and Bam Bam.
Yeah, I think the SNES got really screwed with how many characters they got. All right, well, you know, we're gonna talk about our not so favorite WrestleMania matches, and this is in our opinion, obviously, and I think there's gonna be different reasons as to why matches are on our list, and that's what's gonna make it interesting, because we're gonna have to explain why a match is not a favorite of ours, right?
Yeah, correct. It's like there's many different reasons why a match could be good, and there's pretty different reasons why a match could not be considered that good.
Right. So with that, as always, my guests go first. So we're gonna before I get started, we went again top 5, not so favorite. We're gonna go from 5 to number 1, and as always, the guest goes first. So we're gonna go to your number 5 first.
Well, Undertaker, you're finally right about one thing. It's only 1 week until the big burial. But you see, it's not gonna be the Giant Gonzalez gonna be buried. It's gonna be you, Undertaker, at WrestleMania 9. So get ready for your demise.
Rest in peace, Undertaker.
1 week away. I hope you're prepared.
I think that's one of the first times I've ever heard Giant Gonzalez say anything. Rest in peace, Undertaker. So your number 5, you got Giant Gonzalez versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 9.
That is correct. And my reasonings for this is the fact that The Undertaker had a match with Giant Gonzalez, and that match itself was very slow, and they had to use a lot of, as we say in the wrestling world, gimmicks to make that match stand out. It's like, that's my perspective on it. You know, it's like, you guys can comment differently, but that's what I was thinking when I watched that match. Because even Undertaker talks back in the days, like, even to the Vince, yeah, he made me sway those big dragons or those big giants, and he's saying that. But yeah, overall, that match was there, but it had to be like gimmicked out so it could stand out and it could actually last longer for the time limit they probably gave him.
Yeah, this one definitely is very infamous. I think when people talk about Undertaker's matches and they look at the not so good ones, this one I think usually comes up first.
Yeah, it's just it's nothing against R.I.P. to John Gonzalez. It's just how it was like, what else could he do? You know, it's like John Gonzalez came from WCW's El Gigante, and you could even know that when he was facing Ric Flair, it's Ric Flair doing most of the work or doing a lot, even though it takes two to tango in this business. But you could totally tell, like, you know, if you really pay attention, if you understand the business, you understand that. And it was more like a Vince McMahon thing, like, the guy's huge, of course he's an attraction. So basically it's more of an attraction match, and it's just like another niche on The Undertaker as an opponent. But yeah, overall, like I said, it was based a lot more on gimmicks than actual wrestling, which it should, under who was wrestling in this match. But like it says, like, I feel like they could have maybe shortened down the match a little less, you know, and it would have been maybe a little better.
Yeah, well, I mean, Giant Gonzalez was not a pro wrestler. Like, his first career, I think, he played for the Atlanta Hawks. He was an NBA player. And I think I don't know if I know the exact story, but I think the Atlanta Hawks is Atlanta. That's where WCW is. And I think someone from WCW saw him and was like, I think he had retired from basketball or something. And they're like, oh, let's get this guy to be a wrestler. So maybe it's not completely his fault. It was just he's like you said, an attraction. He's a big guy. They're like, hey, we can make money with this guy. Let's make him a wrestler. Yeah,
it's like because like he did what's it call it? He was in WCW because like one of the Atlantic people executives saw him, and I think like he got hurt or something or like that, or they didn't know what to do with him, or it didn't work out with the basketball thing. So WCW picked him up. And like I said, look at that guy, was 7'7". That's an attraction by itself. I mean, you walk around the streets, you don't see a 7'7" guy. You know, that's truly what wrestling sometimes is, according to Vince McMahon, because Andre the Giant stood out. That's why, like, I feel he doesn't appreciate, like, some guys that look like normal human beings or regular human beings because they don't have that big attraction. Like, when you walk the airport, that's one of the things he always says. Is like, when you walk the airport, are you gonna be like, oh my god, this guy, or like, oh, they just pass you by, like, oh, it's just another guy.
Well,
You know?
he did stand out, that's for sure. And then that stare down in the before they rang the bell. Like at that time, you wouldn't really see Undertaker go up against somebody that was that much bigger than him. I think that was the first time, right? That he faced someone like that was towering over him.
Yeah, you're right. It's like that's what I'm saying. That match was based on that. It's more like an attraction. So, but overall, like I think the match could have been just a little bit shorter, and then it would have worked out better.
Yeah.
But I understand where they were going. You know, it's like, you know, and that's just my perspective on the situation, as being in this business, understanding how wrestlers work and how situations are backstage, and how promoters decide things here and there, you know. But I understand it's like it's an attraction, and that's what's gonna get people to watch. Oh my God, this big guy is like, and then the Undertaker, you just put him in there, and like, okay, you thought, damn, how's the Undertaker gonna take this 7'7" guy down? And that's what you think. But yeah, if the guy could only do so much, no disrespect to the John Gonzalez.
Yeah, I mean the match. I mean, I think when I watched it as a kid, I remember watching the Royal Rumble before this and being like, "Oh man, who's this guy?" That he comes in and he throws out the Undertaker out of the Rumble, and he pretty much like destroys the Undertaker in the Royal Rumble match. I was impressed by him, but yeah, now looking at that bodysuit, maybe maybe not the best choice for ring attire. He has like furry elbow, like shoulder pads, and then his genitalia is covered with some fur. His tuchus is also covered with some fur, and then he's wearing like some, like, it looks like some orthopedic like shoes, like boots.
Yeah, like no, think about it. He's supposed to be like a Sasquatch or something, like a big guy, you know. Like, that's why he has a little fur here and there. But hey, man, he had abs, and that caused, you know, that's that I guess that's considered positive. But no, the original, like, remember he had the actual fur, but later on it just became like the tights with the spandex, without the fur. But yeah, it's like, you know, as bad as some costumes or tights are, you know, they do stand out, and that definitely stood out because we just barely talk about it. Even you, the RetroTiburon, freaking literally said it in detail wise.
Yeah. Hey, here I am, like, trying to get in shape and trying to eat better, and like walking on the treadmill. All I gotta do is make one of these shirts with like abs on it, and I'll be set.
Yeah, like if you be set in a secondary world, but like in like supposedly real life, people might not notice unless they're like blind or something. Notice a flag, you know. But
hey, but didn't this match happen in the same year in SummerSlam? Or am I mistaken?
You talk about the SummerSlam match where like he, like from Chicago, right?
He fought him again, right? The Undertaker fought Giant Gonzalez that same year in SummerSlam.
Oh no, so that was Detroit then, right? Because like that was was that Yoko? No, I'm no.
Wasn't that Yoko Lex?
Yoko Lex, yeah, that was Detroit, right?
I don't remember,
because remember that was the one with like they had the Steiner brothers family show up. They're from Detroit, Michigan.
Well, I'm just saying, like, this match stunk, and then, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it happened again at the next pay-per-view.
No, because remember, if this is like, I believe 93, right? So they had the KOR before that, and like, remember the match that I was shocked. It's like it was John Gonzalez with Tatanka. I was like, how did Tatanka pass him? Because I remember missing that episode, Superstars.
Tatanka beat Giant Gonzalez to qualify for the King of the Ring? I don't remember that.
Yeah, you can check it out yourself, but I'm pretty sure of that. And I wanted to watch that match. Like, how did Tatanka get past this guy? I remember watching it, and off the top of my head, I cannot remember exactly what happened. But yeah, John Gonzalez was eliminated, and Tatanka did go on to KOR. Wow.
Do you have a Tatanka battle chant impersonation? Man, that was not good.
I know.
And the crowd agrees. Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry for that Tatanka battle chant, but
Why don't you do one? I want to hear you. Like, you putting a challenge on me? Go for it. Tatanka the thing.
I'm good. I'm good for now. But that was your number 5. That was, Giant Gonzalez versus The Undertaker. Definitely not up there with the greatest WrestleMania matches for sure. Let's go to my number 5 now.
You know, I would have to be the first to admit that tribute to Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan himself in his day was maybe the greatest wrestler there ever was. And even myself that has no compassion for no living soul, Hogan, for just a second, 1 second, I feel sorry for you. Because you, Hogan, are now facing something you have never faced before. You are facing a fuel-injected suicide machine that is called Sid Justice. Now that feeling in your gut that's running through your veins, you call that feeling what you want, but it is called fear. Fear from the man that rules the world.
I think Sid was not a big fan of the Hulkster based on this promo. But yeah, at my number 5, I got Sid. I think at this time, was he already Sid? Well, I think he was still Sid Justice, right? Sid Justice versus Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 8. Yeah, this I think last year we talked about it. This was the first pay-per-view I ever saw live, and I had watched all the previous WrestleManias on Coliseum home video, and all the Hulk Hogan matches were pretty like epic matches before that in the previous WrestleManias. Maybe debatable if the Sergeant Slaughter one was that great, but it was still a passable match. This to me was the first time I saw Hogan in a match, and I was like, man, this match kind of stunk. And I think it stunk because it was a DQ finish, and it's like, this is the main event, and it ends with a DQ finish. And I get they try to kind of put a little like cherry on top by throwing out the return of the Ultimate Warrior, but I don't know. This match I thought kind of stunk. I remember even watching it as a kid, being like, that's how the match ended. Like, I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this match was interesting by itself. They talk about like why Papa Shango could not make it on time, and then Harvey Whippleman had to get in there to
Oh yeah, Papa Shango botched the finish. He was like kind of They said it was his fault, right? That they botched the finish.
Yeah, they say it was him, but I think maybe it was somebody in Gorilla that didn't give him a shot, or like something happened. But yeah, you know what's interesting about this is that Harvey Whippleman is both a manager for Sid Justice, and he was also manager for the Giant Gonzalez.
I was gonna tell you, there's already a trend here. Harvey Whippleman was in both of these promos that we just listened to. Is this like I don't know, some kind of sign or something that it was the Whippleman effect or something?
I don't know, because like they always stuck Whippleman with the biggest guys,
Oh yeah. Oh, that makes sense because he's little, so they stick him with the giants to make him look bigger.
Exactly. You got him. He was part of Kamala. Remember? He was.
Oh yeah. With Kimchi.
He was also part with Mr. Hughes.
Oh, that I don't remember. Mr. Hughes with Whippleman.
Yeah, I remember because he was the one. Hughes was the one that grabbed the Undertaker's urn. Remember before? And he had it at the KOR.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, but DQ finish. I kind of wish that they would have had that Savage Flair as the main event. I get why they had Hogan's the marquee guy, have Hogan in the main event, but I think what led up to this also being a kind of it was like almost destined to be kind of a stinker, at least the finish, was that at this time Hogan was leaving, right? Hogan was going to take a break from wrestling.
Yeah, Hogan's going to take a break from wrestling. So, and at the end of the day, Vince wanted one thing. Hogan must pose as been said by so many times by Bruce Pritchard. Hogan must pose.
And I've heard people say like, well, why didn't Hogan put Sid over? Which I get it, because if you look at Sid at that time, and that guy was like, he looked like he was like drawn like straight out of a comic book or something. But think about this: Hogan left not that long after that. Sid was gone too.
Yeah, you're right. Sid was gone. So if he would have done exactly what you were talking about, that would have put Sid basically big push for no reason.
That's one of the things I think I'm a Hogan fanboy, not gonna lie. You know it, the people that know me know it, but people always say, oh, Hogan didn't want to put anyone over. And I'm like, I think when you're that big, you gotta be selective with who you put over. Because like, for example, like we're talking about with this, Sid, yeah, he would have put Sid over, big win, and then what, Sid was gonna leave? And then what was gonna be the purpose of that?
Yeah, like you talk about, because like they even said like when Austin was on top, he was very careful who he was gonna put over, who he was gonna actually help out.
Yeah, but that was mine. I don't know. I mean, the match maybe not the worst, but I just thought a DQ finish for a WrestleMania main event. Come on now, you can't end a WrestleMania with a DQ finish.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, but you just gotta listen to the crowd, and if the crowd told you how they felt, you heard it.
That's right. All right. Well, let's go to your number 4 now.
Oh, can't you feel it? Can't you feel it? We're just hours away. Bundy, the end is at hand. It's time to meet your maker. It's time to rest in peace.
At number 4, Sexy Chino's got King Kong Bundy versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 11. Tell us about this stinker.
Okay, there's the reason I have that match at WrestleMania 11, Bundy versus Undertaker, is because at that time Bundy was not what Bundy used to be, and it felt like that match they didn't have the good chemistry. You know how you talk about good chemistry in wrestling itself.
Right.
When you have good chemistry, you can go out there and put like a phenomenal match. Sometimes just styles collide and clash, and it felt that way to me, at least. Maybe somebody else a different angle of it, but that's what I felt like when I saw this match, and it felt like it was just thrown there because like Bundy was not where he was before. It was more like, okay, we're giving you another giant to slay for the Undertaker.
Yeah. The Undertaker kind of had a kind of a run of kind of a not so good matches. I mean, he had the Giant Gonzalez one at 9. Then he wasn't even there for 10. And then on his welcome back, he got King Kong Bundy, like you said, maybe 10 years past his prime, maybe. And he beats him with a flying clothesline, doesn't he?
Yeah, so like it tells you there, because like Bundy, I mean, for his time back in the 80s, he was like something, like, oh, but you gotta understand that in the upgraded times, you were supposed to at least move a little more, and Bundy just stayed in that time zone of the 80s. It felt like, it's like it was going more of a name value of King Kong Bundy instead of like the fact that it had the name value plus he can back it up with it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm being too nice on these guys, but maybe it wasn't his fault either. He wasn't, like he said, he wasn't really mobile at this time. Because I remember seeing WrestleMania 2 when he fought Hulk Hogan, and he was pretty mobile. Like, he was pretty, like, quick for his size.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's just, like, it's timing, it's when you come back, But sometimes you got to adapt to the system and adapt to the times. And I don't think Bundy adapted to the times. He thought that being King Kong Bundy was it. It's like, you got to be King Kong Bundy, but just adapt to what's going on right there. And I was like, I know he had to slow down the pace because of the age difference and, probably his body, the wear and tear. But yeah, like, it was just bad timing in my personal perspective. But yeah, it's like, it's all about how matches are set up and how guys could have good chemistry with each other. It just felt bad chemistry. Like I said, no disrespect to any match that we talk about. It's just our perspective, and we're seeing the aspects of it on our perspective of it.
Yeah.
And that's it. They're like, I mean, Bundy's had great matches before. Like he talked about WrestleMania 2 and things like that, but it was a different time.
Yeah. Now that I think of it, Undertaker probably, it took him a few years to get like some good ones, because the year after was WrestleMania 12. And I mean, he got Diesel, and I don't remember that one being great either. I mean, at least Diesel was like a marquee main eventer, right? But it was also kind of like a clash of styles, I thought.
Yeah, but at least that was like a better match, I think, in general, because Diesel had more in the tank, and it was like you said, more of a clash. Just it was like a little more chemistry to it, because it felt like they were moving faster and trying to tell a different story. But overall, like Diesel versus Undertaker, I think it was well done. I just think like the King Kong Bundy thing is like, come on, get beat with a clothesline.
Yeah, flying clothesline. And then after, now I'm thinking about, when did Undertaker have his first awesome match? Because after 13, then he faced Sid the next year, right?
Yeah, he faced Sid, and you got you got to understand that Sid match was more there for like to help out the Bret Hart and Bret Hart feud, and also like to make the Undertaker be the champ. Because remember, the only other time before that he held the title was after Survivor Series and lost it to this Tuesday in Texas, which set up the Royal Rumble where Ric Flair won.
Yeah, I'm just saying it seems like it took a while for Undertaker to, you know, we think about great Undertaker matches. We're thinking about, you know, Shawn Michaels matches, but those were in the WrestleMania 20s, I think, right? It took a while for him to get some, for them to give him some like really good working opponents, I think.
Yeah, because remember, you got to think about the character. You got to think about how he used to be back in the days, how slow he had to do it, you know? And then all of a sudden, he kept adapting and then keep adding more to that character and that persona. Like I said, he did the American Badass, and things like he got to like look more like a shooter style, and you know, and that's what he adapted to it. That's why he made the because think about it, if he would have just kept going at the dead guy the whole time, slow walking, not upgraded to try to wrestle more, that character might have not been what it is today.
Yeah, it evolved for sure. Yeah, like you said, it couldn't stay. If he would have just stayed as that character, I think people would have got bored of him. So it's a good thing he evolved.
Truly.
All right. Well, that was your number 4. Let's go to my number 4 pick now.
There is nothing that this man hasn't done in this business except beat me. There is nothing this man hasn't done in this business except beat me. The game. There is nothing this man hasn't done except beat me. Except beat me. Except beat me.
At my number 4, I got Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania 35. This is one of the first matches that popped into my head, and I actually watched it earlier today, and yeah, it was just kind of just like, I don't know, it felt like typical. I was trying to say typical Triple H. Typical Triple H match. Typical, that's a new word there. Typical Triple H match where, you know, weapons get involved and a sledgehammer, and there's a lot of brawling outside, and I don't know. I remember watching this WrestleMania and thinking, God damn, this match is boring, and it just felt like oh, let me get my friend let's have a WrestleMania match. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was like a slog fest. I don't know. What did you think about this match?
When I watched that match, it's like it's about telling the story, and that's what they actually built pretty good on telling the story about it. But Yeah, then once again, they did a thing where they pull his nose ring.
Yeah. But you're bringing up the story, and I get that, but you know how they say, like, we all know wrestling's predetermined and all that, but sometimes you get into some of the angles because you might think, oh, I think this guy doesn't like that other guy. And there's a little bit of realism there. So then you kind of buy into it. With this one, I didn't buy any of it. I'm like, these guys are friends. And he's just like, hey, Triple H, I want to wrestle you at WrestleMania.
Well, you guys, you also got to understand that before this match, Bautista keep talking about he wanted to have his last match with Triple H all the time.
Yeah, so okay, maybe I must have heard that somewhere because it just felt like, oh, I just want to wrestle my buddy. So maybe if he would have wrestled someone that I thought, oh, yeah, maybe he doesn't like that guy, maybe I would have been more into it. But just knowing like, oh, these are just two friends wanting to be on WrestleMania and have a fun match. Have the match for themselves. Like, I don't know.
No, well, you know what? Like, it's what Bautista wanted at the time. So, and he's a movie star. So, when you're a movie star, you get that exclusive privilege.
Yeah.
And they liked each other, and like you said, they were friends. But overall, man, it like Piercy taking out the nose ring and things like that, and having that battle, it just like, yeah, to you it's telling the story, but it could have been cut just a little. Like, I always think sometimes, like, some matches just cut it just a little, and it would survive to be considered a better match.
The entrance was cool. Triple H's entrance. He comes out in like the Mad Max vehicle or something, and Bautista actually trips. I had forgotten about that. He trips getting into the ring. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that's been edited, I'm pretty sure, for the network.
No, I saw it on the network on Peacock.
Oh, I thought that was because I remember watching that on Botchamania. I was like, oh, for sure they're gonna edit that.
But you know which one was good? Was it WrestleMania 21 where Bautista first fought Triple H? Was it 21?
Yeah, it was 21. Remember, it was
that one
21
was good.
Hollywood.
Yeah, that one was actually good. But this one, I just didn't. I didn't buy. You bring up the story. I didn't buy the story.
Well, that story was like something that they wanted to pull together. Because remember how it started was like he attacked Ric Flair. And that was like supposed to be Triple H's mentor, and it's supposed to be Bautista's mentor because of the evolution.
Yeah, I think maybe it might have been I just had Triple H fatigued by this point too. Like, I'm like, all right, Triple H has to have his WrestleMania match with his entrance. He's going to have the best entrance out of everybody, which he probably did with this one with the Mad Max. But, yeah, whatever. All right. But it's not like one that I hate. It's just like, I wouldn't watch this again. So that was my number 4. Let's go to your number 3 match here.
She seems to think that I'm real anxious for some TV time. Well, Terry, unlike you, I don't mind sharing the spotlight. So why don't you come on down here and let's talk face to face.
Oh, boy. This is going to be great. Kat is calling out Terry on heat. And there she is. The little she-devil. I can't wipe the smile off my face. Well, Kat calling Terry out. And as we mentioned, the claws may be out on heat.
As you know, sweetie, everyone's been watching us air our dirty laundry. Well, your dirty laundry. But I've called you out here to issue you a challenge. A cat fight at WrestleMania.
Oh, boy! Yes! Yes!
You know, they're all different sorts of cats. You got big cats, you got little cats. You got your common everyday house cat, and you even have wild cats. But then there are your alley cats. And you know, I don't choose to go slumming very often. But if you grab this little tiger by the tail, sister, you better hang on, because I bite.
Wow!
No, baby, you don't bite. You suck.
Whoa! Oh, boy! I'm keeping score. That might have been the knockout blow.
It would be horrible for you to miss WrestleMania, seeing as how that is the biggest and best opportunity for exposure. And if it's exposure you want, honey, exposure you will get.
Oh, man! Can you believe that? The She-Devil.
Now, if Triple H and Batista would have cut a promo like that, maybe I would have enjoyed their match a little bit more. At your number 3 pick, you got Terry versus the Cat at WrestleMania. This is WrestleMania 2000, right?
Correct, or 16. But yeah, like I feel this match could have been done on Raw or SmackDown.
When I first saw it, I was like, Terry Funk wrestled someone named the Cat, because you just put Terry versus the Cat. I don't even remember this match.
Yeah, you even forgot. Did you forget that Val Venus was the actual referee for that match?
What? So was this? Because all I remember from WrestleMania 2000 that every match was a tag match, a 4-way, a 3-way. Was this the only singles match on the card?
I think it was one of the single matches on the card, if I can remember top of my head. But yeah, I just feel like I said, I just felt this match could have been on a Raw, SmackDown, something like heat. But yeah, it's just. They wanted to give, at the time, look where we're at with the Attitude Era. You know, it's like, of course you're going to get something like that in the WrestleMania, you know, just to bring that crowd that appreciates that, because that's the crowd that they had at the time that was really into this, you know. So, yeah, I understand where they were going with it. But, like, for me, like, the way they had it, it's like it just felt like one of those matches that you could literally have on a Raw the next night.
So what was the finish, or like who won? Like what was the finish of this match?
Do you remember? I think Terry beat the Cat.
Was it with a 450 splash or?
No, it had to be a shooting star press into a DDT.
So they didn't put on a barn burner, I guess, at WrestleMania 2000.
They did what they could, and then you can't take away from what they did. It's just like, you know, that's how I felt when you were telling me about it, those kind of matches. It's like, yeah, I looked at it because, like you said, we have different reasons, and I just said, you know what, this match could have definitely been on a Raw or a SmackDown. You know, it just didn't have to be on WrestleMania, but I understand where they were going with it.
Yeah, you know? This was probably like the popcorn match or the restroom break match, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that, but it's like it gave like a little light to the women's division in a sense, I guess, the Divas.
Hey, and you were there, because wasn't this Anaheim?
Yeah, I was there.
So you weren't chanting with your brother, "This is awesome."
No, not
Wrestle forever, or what's the chant?
I don't think those chants were there back in the day. You know, it's like I remember Rocky. You know, Rocky, or like, ooh, Triple H sucks, and you know, like that. But like, to tell you the truth, no, I don't. Like, but like I said, I understand where they were going with it. But like, to me, I feel like how you put those the actual topic of this is that it makes sense, because I felt like when you said that, this match could have definitely been on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, or Sunday Night Heat, which where this promo took place. All right, well, that was your number 3. Let's go to my number 3 now.
I'm not provoking him. I don't think I have to provoke him. I mean, I'm looking at Brock. He's doing his bouncy thing. He's looking all bouncy and ready. Looks to me like Brock Lesnar wants to come down here and fight right now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to put an end to this nonsense. On Sunday night, April 3rd, 2016, WrestleMania will be only on the WWE Network. And in case you haven't heard, this year, for the first time ever, hashtag free WrestleMania to new subscribers on the network. The main event of the evening, Dean Ambrose, the knucklehead inside the ring right now, against the only man to hold the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Championship, the UFC Heavyweight Championship, and the undisputed WWE Heavyweight Championship of the world. I give to you in a no-hold street fight, Brock Lesnar. And as the advertising campaign says, what are you waiting for? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I bid you a fair adieu.
At number 3, I got Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania 32. I put this one on the list because I remember when this match was announced, I was like, man, this is gonna be a cool match. Like, because Dean Ambrose is very kind of off the wall, willing to do whatever to have a good match. And I'm like, man, you're putting him in there with Brock Lesnar. This is gonna be a crazy off the wall match. And then the match happens, and then all Brock Lesnar does is suplex and suplex and suplex and suplex and suplex, and then he beats him with an F5.
Sounds like a Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, and I thought it was, they're going to do some crazy stuff, like, I mean, you look at the potential of the match, like, Dean Ambrose at this time, like, he was, like, pretty red hot.
Yeah, you're right. If you look at this match, and you can understand that Brock Lesnar sometimes wants to make a great match, and sometimes he wants to, as we say in the business, sometimes he just wants to take a night off or basically call it in because he doesn't feel the opponent. He doesn't feel like it's a match that he really, really wants to be in. Because Dean Ambrose, if you remember, he said, he came in, he's like thinking, Brock, we got a chance to do this, we got a chance to do that. And Brock like, no.
Yeah, that was on the Stone Cold podcast, right? On the network, where Dean Ambrose was saying, I had a bunch of ideas for this match.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the thing. It's like, if Brock doesn't want to, it's not going to happen, Because, like, look at the matches that Brock wants to be part of. Like Eddie Guerrero. No Way Out. That was a good match. Or you could look at like him or Kurt Angle,
right?
Those kind of matches. It's like, even if you want to even talk about like more like new generation, a new attitude, exactly what they call it, but like the CM Punk and him at SummerSlam, he wanted to be part of it. It's like, if Brock wants to be part of a match, he really makes it stand out, makes it special. But if he just wants to, that's it, call it in, or, just not into it, you're going to see a Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar kind of match.
Yeah, which was, like I said, I was actually looking forward to this match. And then when it happened, it's like, it's just another Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, it was another Brock Lesnar match. As well, you build it, you got the Paul Heyman, and also it was the first time, like, for the network, they were trying to push it. But yeah, that Brock Lesnar wasn't where he wanted to be because he didn't feel that match, and it's not right in a sense, because like Dean Ambrose and Moxley now, he really wanted to do a really good job, but unfortunately Brock didn't feel it, so it just became that kind of match. And well, you remember for that now.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all I really got to say about that one. So let's go to your number 2 pick now.
Results, we've got judges at ringside, Chuck Wetner, Kevin Rooney, Gorilla Monsoon. Here we go, round 1, brawl for all. Butterbean and Bart Gunn. And Butterbean with a stiff left to start things off. There's a left by Bart Gunn. What do you give the edge to in this one, King?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I think without a doubt, probably Butter. Oh, wow! Did you see that? Both of these guys got right.
Butterbean right hand and a knockdown of Bart Gunn early on. Butterbean caught Bart Gunn with a hard right hand. 300 pounds of power behind him. And keep in mind, Butterbean.
If I were you, Bart, I'd go for a takedown.
27 seconds left. There's the right hand, folks. It's over.
Goodbye.
It's over. Butterbean with a first-round knockout of Bart Gunn.
At Sexy Chino's number 2, he's got Butterbean versus Bart Gunn at WrestleMania 15. Tell us about this one.
Okay, it's interesting that you just played the whole match.
I figured it's not a very long fight, so just play the whole thing.
The whole thing. I'm going with my angle, or like the perspective I'm going with, is that this match definitely could not, didn't have to be at WrestleMania, so they couldn't build this match. Could have been like something to do with like one of the main events on Raw, but like yeah, it's like look what it was, man. They built that brawl for all like crazy, and they finally bring somebody because they just. I'm not denying that any of those wrestlers weren't legit tough guys, but they brought somebody who was a boxer, a legit boxer, right? And you talk about that kind of background, and he literally said, "Hey, I guess as real as it's gonna get it," and it got as real as it got.
He said, "This is my world, bitch. You're in my world now."
Yeah, so like, and the way they built, if you remember the promos of like how they built it, you know, the packages. Oh my God, Bart! Yeah, he'll go down. He's gonna get him down like 3 rounds. So oh yeah, like, and then you're like, oh yeah, Bart's been working this, that, like, and then when you watch the final product, it's like what happened?
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, people would look at Butterbean and see like this fat dude, but this guy, like you said, he was a legitimate boxer, and he was like in all those tough man contests, like knocking people out. Like this guy wasn't just some guy off the street. This guy was a trained boxer.
Yeah, being a trained boxer does help out, and like that's the thing is like, so yeah, they could have done this match somewhere else, but it does make the impact at a WrestleMania because people remember, and that's not good for Bart, but at the same time, it's still recognizable. But yeah, I just feel like this match could have been like another match they put somewhere else, but I understand where they were going with it because they wanted that brawl for all because they built it so much. But yeah, just the promos, you're like, oh, okay, and then boom. It's like watching those one of the boxing matches, unfortunately, that you're like, yeah, into it, and it gets knocked down like the first round.
And the thing is, in the Brawl for All tournament, they would do takedowns, but this one they didn't do takedowns. So maybe if they would have done takedowns, who knows? Maybe he would have had Bart Gunn would have had a chance. But it was a straight boxing match.
Yeah, a straight boxing match is a lot more different than than going straight to take somebody out. You gotta start from the top. And if Bart like wasn't a legit boxing training for so many years, and like you said, Butterbean was literally training boxing, did some boxing matches, this tough guys. He knew exactly what he was gonna do, and he knew exactly where to go. And you know, like experience means a lot. And like if you know exactly what to do and you know how to get the guy and have him in that right position, you can knock him out.
Yeah, which happened. It happened, and boy, did it ever happen.
Yeah, Bart felt that impact. You could juke down.
And that's kind of, I mean, maybe McMahon was thinking, oh, Bart Gunn's gonna knock him out. Maybe Vince started believing the hype, like, man, Bart Gunn has a chance.
Well, you know, that's good in a sense because that felt like Vince was wanting to get behind him. And so that's what, this is brought for a good. And all of a sudden, like, here's your challenger. You know, it's like putting a real boxer, like the Floyd Mayweather versus Big Show. You know, if you literally let Floyd Mayweather just punch the Big Show in an actual punch thing, like the Big Show could just knock him out, they say no, but Floyd Mayweather is freaking fast, so he can start punching here and there, and he knows exactly where to punch you to, so he can knock you down quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was your, what was it, number 2. So now we're going to go to my number 2.
Legion of Doom, it appears WrestleMania 7 will be a night of reckoning for the power and glory.
That's right, Sean Mooney. All the people in the World Wrestling Federation out there, you all know that we should have had the title shot against the Hearts, and we should be champions right now. By you, power and glory, you interfered where you didn't belong. And now, at WrestleMania, you're going down by the hands of the Legion of Doom. And when we're done with you, nasty boys, we're coming after you. Tell 'em, Hawk.
Power and glory, huh? Power and glory. When we get done with you, you'll be sour and gory.
At my number 2, I got the Legion of Doom versus Power and Glory at WrestleMania 7. And here's the reason I have this at my number 2. I thought Power and Glory had a lot of potential. I thought they looked really awesome. And what happened in this match pretty much shut down any momentum that Power and Glory had. It was literally like a 2-3 minute squash match between LOD squashing Power and Glory like in 2 minutes. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, I remember this one it's WrestleMania 7 and at the LA Sports Arena. And I could understand how they did that because it's based back in the days, remember television time for the satellite. So they wanted to save enough time for probably the main event because I think this came like one of the matches before the main event.
Yeah, it was late in the card, but if you remember the pay-per-views before WrestleMania 7, I mean, if we go back to SummerSlam 1990, the Power and Glory beat the Rockers with, you had an injured Shawn Michaels, but they still beat the Rockers. Then they had that Survivor Series when they teamed up with Martel and Warlord, when they were the Visionaries, and they were the first team to fully survive their Survivor Series match. I kind of felt like they kind of had some momentum going their way. And then this match happened, and it was kind of like, nah, you guys are basically tag team jobbers.
Yeah, like that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's what's in the business. Like things will go, but yeah, it's just like sometimes it's based on time. And I'm telling you, if they had maybe a little more time, this match could have gone a little longer. Because there was other matches that were really short. Like, remember, they had, like, the Texas Tornado versus Gino Bravo. That was pretty short. They had the Mountie versus Tito Santana. That was pretty short.
You had the Hammer versus Earthquake, I think.
Yeah, the Hammer versus Earthquake. Those matches were pretty short, too. It's just the timing of it, It's like how much satellite time they had. That's what I'm figuring out, because like I think this match could have went a little longer, and that would have been okay. But I think the whole point was like they wanted to prove how Legion of Doom was so dominant they could go against the Nasty Boys.
Yeah, and it may be like you're bringing up the Nasty Boys. Maybe it was just they're so at this time the tag team division was so stacked, right? You had the LOD, which they were the new shiny toy at this time. You had the Rockers. You had. I mean, the Hart Foundation was on their way out, but they were still tag team champions. You had the Nasty Boys. So maybe the division was too stacked, but I kind of feel like after this, what did Power and Glory do after this? That was it, right?
Weren't they, if it's 91, they were, at SummerSlam 91, they teamed up with the Warlord?
At the six-man tag, right?
Yeah, when they randomly put Ricky Steamboat, Texas Tornado, and I think the British Bulldog together.
Yeah, but it just seemed like, I don't know, and watching the pay-per-views of the 90s, it kind of felt like, Power and Glory is going to be like this new team that's going to be like, they're going to be contenders.
Yeah, that would have been great, to build, but like, it's the teams at the top that Vince saw something in it, and unfortunately he didn't see the Power and Glory as other people might have seen them. So yeah, it's the another thing, unfortunately, is like what you hear all the time. Vince doesn't appreciate tag teams as much as he appreciates singles.
Yeah, and I don't know. Tell me what you think about this. I kind of see, and looking back at Power and Glory, they were kind of like the heel version of the Hart Foundation. And what I mean by that is you had the little guy and the big guy, the power guy. And I'm not saying Paul Roma is like the technical wrestler Bret Hart is, but, the little guy, the fast guy, the guy that does the more, flashy stuff. You had the big guy and the little guy.
Yeah, you're right. And the Power and Glory, Hercules Hernandez and Paul Roma, they had the Powerplex, which is, if you think about it, the timing of that move takes...
That move was awesome.
That move takes great because it's a superplex into a big splash. As soon as the guy hits the mat, the guy has to be hitting the splash. So it takes timing. So that move is great. It's all about timing in that one. But yeah, man, they had some good moves, and that's one of the moves. Like a lot of people forget the Powerplex. So yeah, that's a timing move, and it's so cool when it's right on time.
Right. All right. Well, that was my number 2. Let's go to your all-time not-so-favorite WrestleMania match.
Fueled by greed, driven by domination, Brock Lesnar.
Lesnar's not in the Royal Rumble match! F5's coming!
Goldberg.
What the hell? Still! That's Goldberg! What the hell is he doing here?
And one crazy SOB in the middle.
And Austin's a guest referee at WrestleMania!
Now, the 2 most volatile superstars in the WWE will step into the same ring with special guest referees
At your all-time not so favorite WrestleMania match, Sexy Chino's got Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, and then people might be, oh my God, how can you pick something that has such big stars? And here's my reasoning. All right, the wrestling business is about telling a story and you know, having great action, and what this had no purpose. It had a purpose beforehand, but what I'm saying, I'm gonna go into the behind the scenes things. It's like, you knew Brock Lesnar, you knew Goldberg was leaving no matter what, because the contract was running out. But then all of a sudden you find out that Brock Lesnar's leaving. So it felt like, who cares who wins or loses in this, because it doesn't build to nothing. Either one, at the end, both are going to leave, so what's the whole point? You know, it's like they already had the match set up, so you didn't really care who won, because like, what's it gonna do? What's it gonna build to? You know, the only thing was like Austin's in the middle and got to stun everybody at the end. That's it. But overall, like, what's it do? What's the whole purpose? Where's it gonna lead to? And plus you could tell that they didn't want to be there. And you can tell that about a bit. If you've been in this business, you understand. If you really love this business, you can tell somebody who wants to be there. And unfortunately, I could literally tell you, those guys did not want to be there. They were just there to get paid and leave. And, you know, that's fine. But like I said, this had no purpose. And when both of them are leaving and there's nothing going to go for the future, there is absolutely no purpose for it. You know, that's the reason I could consider this match that style. Because if it has no purpose, then why even do it?
And I think what you're saying, that, you know, what's the point? And these guys are both leaving and they don't even want to be there. I think the fans in Madison Square Garden felt that, and you heard that. You heard them voice that in the arena.
Truly, and you know what? It's people can feel things. One thing about wrestling is about emotions, and people can feel when people don't want to be there, and people can see it. And they can also feel when they want to be there. When you want to be there, you can feel somebody putting their energies and efforts into it. When you don't want to be there, they're just there. Brock Lesnar is just there as a name. Goldberg's just there as a name. You know, it's like, oh, they just did that. And you could tell the crowd was not into it. And the crowd was there. Even if it wasn't Madison Square Garden, it could have been another building. MSG is one of the worst. But the crowd that definitely has emotions towards that kind of style. But it could have been any other building, because the fans know that where's it going to lead? You guys are leaving. I mean, it's a business decision, yes, but if both of them are leaving, what's the whole point of having the match?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
it was kind of like you guys are just here to get your check, and then you guys are gone.
Exactly. You're just here to get your check. And
so why should we care about this match?
So what makes you want to care about a match or anybody else if they don't even care about it?
Yeah, which was kind of unfortunate, because I remember being pumped for this match, like, because they started building it, I think, like in the Survivor Series before. Remember, they were starting to build it, like starting to hint.
Yeah, because like they had, like, remember, it was like Raw versus SmackDown, and they actually kept them apart, and all of a sudden they had like that meeting with the Brock, so Goldberg, and then it started that way, moved to the Royal Rumble, and then it went to No Way Out, and then it finally supposed to end at WrestleMania. But yeah, we knew if Brock would have stayed, then it would have meant something, and the crowd would have been more into it. But Brock was wanting out, and you know Goldberg's contract was coming up, and at this time he just didn't care as much for at least WWE, you know, for like what it was.
Yeah. So, and Stone Cold was the ref, and he was the most over person in the match, which I don't think is a good thing when the ref is the most over.
Yeah, because like that's I think one of the main reasons they put Austin, because they knew that the crowd was just gonna slant in that match, and yeah, Austin had to be so like he can give the stunners in the crowd. Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, it's like they built it well, everything was happening, but then like circumstances, like Brock didn't want to be there anymore. He wanted out his contract, and Bill Goldberg's contract was coming up. No matter, so yeah, it didn't matter who won or lost because there was nothing going towards the future.
Right. Right. All right. Well, that's your all-time not so favorite WrestleMania match. Let's go to my number one now.
Moment right here.
Wait a minute, here comes Earthquake from behind.
From behind.
Oh, Earthquake, hammering Adam Bomb. Howard Finkel runs for cover. And Earthquake, did you see what he just did to Adam Bomb?
Yeah, jumped him from behind like a backfighter. A gutless coward.
Look at this. Earthquake with Adam Bomb now. And a huge power slam. Unbelievable. What?
Oh, no.
The Tremors are starting here in Madison Square Garden. Look out, look out. It's the big one.
Oh.
It's the big one. Whoa.
Well, what do you expect? He got jumped from behind.
Here is your winner, Earthquake. Yokozuna is standing by so weird.
At my number one not so favorite WrestleMania match, I got Earthquake versus Adam Bomb. You notice a trend here at WrestleMania 10. Notice a trend with my last two picks. So at another match that I was able to play the whole damn match because it was that short. And that's the reason this is my number one, because I don't know about you, but I was kind of an Adam Bomb mark when I was a kid. I thought he looked awesome. He had an awesome look. He could move. I would say he was as agile as The Undertaker, Kane. This guy was just looked like a badass gear. He could move like the big guys, and I don't think he ever got his due in the WWF.
You're right. Like Vince didn't see what other people saw. At the same time, there's stories that go along that Brian Clark, Adam Bomb, did not want to get slopped or stuff like that. I don't know how legit that is.
Oh, by Henry Godwin?
Yeah, Henry Godwin or something like that, and that might cause some controversy. But I think this match was shortened down because of time too. So I'm thinking it's out of lifetime. But the purpose of it, I think, was the whole point was like the Harvey Whippleman.
Harvey again. Harvey was in this one. Harvey, there's a trend, I'm telling you, with Harvey Whippleman in these matches.
Yeah, the Harvey Whippleman and Howard Finkel. Remember, he had the whole hair from Cy Sperling.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, he keep messing with him, and then all of a sudden, Adam Bomb came out, and then that's why Earthquake came on. They did that match real quick. So it had a purpose to build into that, because they were kind of like, they keep doing that Harvey Whippleman, Howard Finkel thing all the time. So I think that built, but they didn't have a lot of time because probably the satellite time itself. So that's the way I would see that. That's the reason that match would have been cut. So it had its purpose, but yeah, you're right. It could have went just a little longer, but.
And the other thing that I think about is, okay, like the Shawn Michaels, we know now, like the people that are really into wrestling and, read the dirt sheets and all that stuff. And, we know that Shawn Michaels and the Razor ladder match took up a lot of time. It went over, right? And they cut out like a 6-man, right?
Yeah, it cut out the 6-man, which what's it, Sean Waltman, the 1-2-3 Kid, talks about it. Like in one shoot interview, says that was my first WrestleMania, and he didn't get a chance to do it. But yeah, just at the end of the day, it was about satellite time, and even though that match is great and people talk about it like crazy, it did take some time away from some other matches, which that match was put on Raw the next day. But overall, like it says, it was about the satellite timing, and that made the match great. But they could have just shortened the match, and I think people still will remember that this is a ladder match.
And here's the other thing that I want to bring up is Adam Bomb got squashed by Earthquake. Where was Earthquake after WrestleMania 10 in the WWF?
Well, he hung around for a little while. I think he did some live events, and like it was like over here on the West Coast. And I think after one of them, something happened. He quit or something. So yeah, that overall, like what you talk about, could have happened like supposed to build to something, but sometimes circumstances, situations take basically the run they're trying to do, or where the wrestler's supposed to go, or how things, the future plans. That's why, like, sometimes future plans don't always come out as you want, but you get a chance to go. That's why you can't always think everything's come out perfect, because nothing always does. So you have that chance, and if you always got that mindset everything's gonna go exactly that way, you're in a wrong situation, because things happen wrong all the time, and it's about adapting. And the wrestling business has adapted a lot. Unfortunately, it doesn't like to sometimes, but it's about adapting. And if like somebody like Earthquake disappears and like that, they go with somebody else. That's the wrestling business.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to take my word for it. What my opinion or your opinion, Sexy Chino's opinion. I actually reached out to Adam Bomb himself, if he can let the the Retrowave audience know how he felt about this match. So let's go to Adam Bomb and see what he thinks about this WrestleMania match.
Hello, this is Brian Clark, Adam Bomb, the creation of Devastation. And I am responding to your question. And your question was about, was for your Retro Wave podcast. So hello to everyone there at Retro Wave. As far as disappointed in the match with Earthquake, I was disappointed in the amount of time that we had, because it was basically a squash match. And the disappointing part was that we had just worked a tour of Europe, probably 10 or 12 days in a row prior to coming back to the States to do WrestleMania at the Garden. So we'd worked out a hell of a match, and Earthquake was not a little guy. He was probably easily 6'7", and right at 400 pounds. But man, I was doing all my high flying stuff, and we had everything going, a really good match. But then with all the people running over on their time and stuff, it ended up just getting put on the card, and then just it ended up being a quick squash match. So I was disappointed in that. It was a good payday, but again, I would have rather had the match that we had in Europe to let everybody really see what we could do. So that was the disappointing part of it. But yeah, I mean, was I glad to be on a Mania? Yes. Would I have liked it to be a better position? Absolutely. So, all right. I hope I answered your question, man. Hope all is well. I will be at WrestleMania this year, as a matter of fact. April, WrestleCon in Dallas, Texas. I will be there. And then 2 weeks later, I will be in your area, Huntington Beach, California. At least somewhere in California. I'm pretty sure that's where you're based at. I could be wrong, but I think you are in California. So I'm over in Phoenix, Arizona. Just a little bit more information for you. But man, I hope I answered your question, and have a great day. All right, brother. Take care.
Thanks to the bomber, we heard it from the horse's mouth. And when he was talking about Huntington Beach, he's actually meant Huntington Park. He's going to be at the Wrestling Guy store. That's in Huntington Park. That's 6085 State Street. You can also follow the Wrestling Guy on Instagram at Wrestling Guy HP. Oh, actually, that's on Twitter. Sorry. But Adam Bomb is going to be there signing autographs 2 weeks after WrestleMania. So any fans of Adam Bomb, you can check him out at Wrestling Guy HP on Twitter. But yeah, what do you think about what the Bomber said himself?
Well, like, I hit on around the bar, right? I said about timing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you understand. Like, you want to be part of WrestleMania. You get your shot. That's great. And you always want to show more. But, yeah, at least you're part of history no matter what when your name's on WrestleMania. So, yeah, you get the positives and negatives, but you always got to look at the positives. And he did. He looked at, it's a good payday. He wished we could have done more because he wanted to show the world what they could do in that ring. But sometimes you just don't get that chance. And it's not about how much time they give you, it's what you do with it. So if they made the point that you can still remember, they did something right.
I mean, I can't say it was a boring match like I thought the Triple H Batista one was. So it's not. It was actually over. You couldn't even go to to get some popcorn or use the restroom for the Atom Bomb Earthquake match. You would have missed it. You would have missed this match and the beginning of the next match.
Yeah, just in general, man. Like Adam Bomb, he got a chance to be a part of WrestleMania, and like he said, he was proud. He's happy. It was a good payday.
Yeah.
And overall, like I said, it's always been about satellite time or somebody going longer than they should, But yeah, it unfortunately sometimes the business is like that, People sometimes go into a business themselves, or they don't acknowledge the time, or things like that. But yeah, just as long as you got a chance and you look at the positives of it, being part of WrestleMania, to get payday, people still remember Adam Bomb because of that, which it's a good thing, It's like, and he even said it's like he was proud of it, and that's all you want. You want just to be remembered, because like if nobody remember him, nobody would check out him at the wrestling guy store. It's like they wouldn't want to check him out, and but like he made some sort of impact that people still remembered, and yeah, they should go definitely check him out at the wrestling guy store.
Yeah, awesome store in Huntington Park, wrestling guy store. Yeah, but now that we've gone through our list, why don't we talk about some honorable mentions? Well, what are some of the honorable mentions that weren't in your top 5 of not so favorite WrestleMania matches?
There's a couple here and there. It's just that, like, sometimes I think like the women's matches get defected. Like, I think it was like Candice versus Tori, or like from I think WrestleMania, the one with Bobby Lashley and Matt Hardy, a ladder match. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think that's like that was the one with Rey Mysterio. I have bad memory. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember. Is that the one where you're talking about when Rey won the title?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like because I think they had like a Candice Michelle versus Tori Wilson, like some bra lingerie match. And I'm not disrespecting Candice or Tori. I'm just thinking like at the time that's what people wanted to see. But unfortunately, this match could also have been in a Raw. Sometimes I look at things like that. It's like, oh, could this match been a Raw? But I understand the attraction value of it. But yeah, if we were talking like that, I would say like something like it just be like a Raw or like a SmackDown, But yeah, no matches. I'm not disrespect anybody in the business itself, man. Being part of WrestleMania is a great honor. It's just like we're just saying on our perspective. It's like, how would this match, And you feel like it could have been somewhere else. Maybe they would have gave it more time, or you feel like it could have been done exactly that time and had the effect on that TV Raw or TV SmackDown. But yeah, it's like it's still in history, and matches like that. What about you?
I got a long list here. So I got Triple H versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 18. Only because the crowd was already dead, because they were tired. They, exhausted from Hogan Rock. And, I had that. I was like, nobody really cared about that as the main event.
So you're trying to say like kind of matches like that, but how about if you talk about those kind of matches, then you got to talk about like the match that followed 25, which is Triple H versus Randy Orton. Remember, that was the main event. It wasn't Taker versus versus Michaels, right?
I don't even remember that Triple H versus Randy Orton one.
Yeah, that was the main event if you want to consider that. But the after Undertaker versus Michaels, it just took the breath out of everybody.
Yeah,
like,
same thing.
So it's exactly what you talk about.
Yeah, I got Crush versus Doink at WrestleMania 9. Just because I was a big Crush fan and I was mad that he lost to Doink, that he got tricked by Doink. So that was more of a little kid pick, the little Mario version, little Tiburon pick.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, that match itself, you wouldn't know what the Matt Bourne, which being Doink the Clown at that time, and Steve Kern, which is Skinner, was the other Doink. You didn't even think that was going to happen. So it's just kind of shocking. At the same time, like, yeah, as a kid, I could see that. But knowing the business now, you understand there was a story.
And I'm a big Matt Bourne fan too. A Matt Bourne Doink fan. I got Red Rooster versus Bobby the Brain Heenan at WrestleMania 5. Just because it was one of those where, like, it was over so quick. Why was it even on the card?
But you got to understand the story of it. That's why that, like, matches don't have to have that much time to tell the story. And the whole thing was like the Red Rooster. And also you got to understand that Heenan was hurt from the other matches. Because he was hurt from, like, the Ultimate Warrior match, remember? He got press slam.
Oh, right. Because he got press. That was when Warrior fought Rick Rude, right? WrestleMania 5. And Warrior press slam Heenan after the match, I think, right?
Yeah, so it made sense that that Heenan would get beat that quick, or the Brooklyn Brawler would do something, because you know what, the guy was hurt, and it makes sense about it, Yeah. So it does make sense that the match could go short because of that. So I would say, I would go more of a story base. So I wouldn't call it like those matches. It could, the way that it was set up, it built well, because after getting press slammed by the Ultimate Warrior, it makes sense that Heenan would not be at 100% to face the Red Rooster.
Right. All right. Well, I had that one, and get a load of this. I had 3 WrestleMania 11 matches on my honorable mentions. I had the one that you pick, King Kong Bundy versus The Undertaker, but I also had Bob Backlund versus Bret Hart in the I Quit match. And I had Diesel versus Shawn Michaels. What do you think of that?
I'm kind of shocked with the Diesel Shawn Michaels.
But you know why? Because I thought it's Shawn Michaels, and at that time I loved Diesel, so I was expecting, this is gonna be an awesome match. And maybe it wasn't a horrible match, but I think the ending, I think maybe the botch with the jackknife, it kind of, I don't know, something about it felt off.
Yeah, like I think the match was okay, and the Diesel versus Shawn Michaels, I understand. Like, I saw that power bomb, like, oh, he got him really high for him. It was like they say Shawn Michaels got a little heavy, but I don't know the exact story to that. But it's like, I think that match did its job. It wasn't the greatest match they could have had between each other, but I think it gave because the whole thing was like Shawn Michaels, I'm going to give you a performance of a lifetime. Remember that?
Yeah, at the press conference, right?
Yeah, I totally remember this because, like, one of the things is, like, I was, like, keep failing my driving test. And I remember that year. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to give a performance of a lifetime. I'm going to go past the test. And I did it. It's like, but yeah, man, it's like.
Wait a minute. You cut a promo to pump yourself up for your driving test?
Yeah,
you stole Shawn Michaels' motivation, saying you're gonna give the performance of a lifetime.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the performance of a lifetime to get my driver's license. You drive, man. It's like, but no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this match, it's bad. It's like they said, Shawn could have made that match better. It wasn't a dead match. It could have definitely been better here and there, but. Be honest with me, it's like, as wrestlers, we always look at matches and go, even like, okay, I'll tell you, like, think about this. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is such a great match. They go backstage and they're thinking, we could have done something here better, And I look at things like that, it's like, you look at matches, you go, I could do better here. I could do better there. Fans might go, oh yeah, it's like great. But as wrestlers, we criticize ourselves way worse than any fan would.
Right. But yeah, I'm not saying it's a terrible match, but I just, like you said, performance of a lifetime. I was like, Shawn Michaels was coming off of, the year previous, Razor Ramon and him. You think it's going to be an awesome match, and it was, like you said yourself, it was an okay match. And I don't think at that time I expected okay matches from Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, it's like,
but that's just how good he was. So
he's so good. It's like, but overall, man, as long as like they gave you something that you remember, something that you enjoyed. Because also remember, they had to deal with the photographers in the outside.
Is that when Shawn Michaels grabbed one of them and he like chucked them, or was that another WrestleMania?
I think that was that one, because I remember WrestleMania 12, he super kicked Tommy Chimo. Remember?
Yeah. But hey, you can't defend Bob Backlund versus Bret Hart. That was a pretty bad match.
It was a match that Bob Backlund probably wasn't used to, because back in the day they didn't have like at least that he didn't have those kind of style matches, and Bret Hart was like, okay, and trying to beat him with this chicken wing, and Bob Backlund, oh my god, and then freaking and Piper's like, oh, do you quit? Like, oh, okay, I guess
he does. Yeah, he doesn't even say I quit.
I think just go like it's like, yeah, man, like George Cam was mine's like, but yeah, it's like. Like I said, that match was built, and unfortunately, it didn't give what everybody else wanted that match to be. But yeah, it's just like you would think a great submissioner like Bret Hart and a great submission like Bob Backlund, because he had the CrossFit Chicken Wing, great amateur background, both of them, and you would think for sure that this would be a great submission match, but it turned out to be like one of those matches like. The chemistry wasn't there at least for this kind of match.
Yeah, but I think Bret Hart, I think he might have redeemed himself a couple years later with his submission match with Austin.
Maybe he had a chip on his shoulder from WrestleMania 11 and said, you know what, I'm going to top that, and I got Austin, and we're going to send him. This is the star, this is the star they're going after, man. Put the rocket ship on it. Hey, we're going to do this.
Yeah. All right. I got a long list. I also got Austin versus HBK at WrestleMania 14. That was 14, right?
Correct.
And just because, I expect Shawn Michaels. You later find out Shawn Michaels has a really jacked up back, and that's why the match wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah, but like you said, Shawn Michaels, even at his bad, at his worst at that time, still gave you a great performance.
Right. Yeah. So, not trashing him or nothing. It was just, you have a bad back. You can't really do much with a bad back in a wrestling match.
Hey, he did a lot.
Yeah.
If you think of that, that match was not 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, he did that, and he went out there hurting, and I mean, he was bitter afterwards, but overall it was Shawn Michaels, and he put the performance in the match, and he put Austin what he was supposed to do. He got him over. He gave him that rocket ship, so he can go be the world champion and carry the company on his back, because Shawn was leaving. He was out after that.
Right. And my last one, I had The Rock versus Triple H versus The Big Show versus Mick Foley at WrestleMania 2000. Just because I think I didn't like that Foley came back because he had lost the retirement match.
You mean the one for No Way Out with the with the Hell in a Cell? And
yeah. So I think I was already mad that he came back, because I was like, come on, man. You just lost that match and you came back.
Well, if you want to talk wrestling terms, it was like Cactus Jack who got retired. Because remember, he was that character.
He wrestled as Foley, right? Come on. Same thing.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In a wrestling formal way, of people, no, Cactus Jack retired.
Yeah.
Mick Foley didn't retire. So it's like...
Yeah, and then I think just it being a 4-way, you hear a lot of wrestlers talk about how they like one-on-ones. They don't like 3-ways because then they get messy. And I think this one was just, it should have probably just been The Rock versus Triple H, to be honest.
Yeah, but like what's different about this is like a McMahon in every corner, and we're never gonna forget that. It's like the only time like you can actually see Linda be part of something. Even like she did show up at WrestleMania 17 as that dead zombie thing, and like she was in the corner and then Trish was in the other corner. It was like that, but I'm telling you, the McMahon, that's a rare addition to see Linda, and it was different. And you gotta understand, this is the Attitude Era, so people like up for whatever they're giving them.
And like I said earlier, this WrestleMania, it was all like 3-ways, 4-ways, tag teams. Except, of course, the Cat. I guess the Cat and Terry Runnels had their singles classic match.
Yeah, it's like it stood out. It stood out. Like maybe I'm wrong. It could have been because it was the only single match, but that's what I was thinking at the time when you told me about the subject. Because I think it could have definitely been on Raw, SmackDown. But overall, like each WrestleMania, each wrestler that's gotten to get a chance, it's a badge of honor, because like it's like not many people can say that. Not many people can say they've been part of WrestleMania and they actually gotten paid for it and things like that. Because that's what people see, right? They see the WrestleMania name. A lot of guys to get into the business. They see, oh, I want to be part of this. And when they get to be part of it, it's like, wow, it's great. It's the nostalgia of it, and it's something you should be proud of.
Well, all right. Well, that was it. But, Sexy Chino, it is tradition around here to play a little trivia game at the end of the show.
Well,
so,
yeah. I am pulling that very horrid streak, so I'm doing pretty good. I wonder when I'm gonna get the skip win.
So we're gonna take a quick commercial break and come right back for the trivia game.
The Rock can't believe this little Rudy Pucciabroni has stolen all The Rock's signature moves.
He walks like The Rock. He talks like The Rock. He's got the rock bottom, the people's elbow, the people's eyebrow.
That's gimmick infringement.
That ain't right.
He's even got the millions and the millions of The Rock's fans playing this video game.
The Rock, know your role and shut your mouth. Over 50 WWF superstars, all their signature moves and talks, plus entrances, cage matches, and create a wrestler. WrestleMania 2000.
You like pancakes?
All right, Sexy Chino, we're back. So you remember last year when I had you on and we did WrestleMania 20 questions?
I actually don't remember the questions, but I remember you put me through the trivia, and that started my streak.
So I put you through a little trivia game where you had 20 questions to find out of a performer that's been in a WrestleMania. And I kind of like botched it, and I said I would never play that game again. But guess what? I lied, because we're going to do WrestleMania 20 questions again.
Yeah, and I remember I had so many clues, I totally even forgot what I said.
So here are the rules. You get to ask 20 questions, and then you get a guess on a performer that's performed at a WrestleMania. So you have to find out, this person could have wrestled, this person could have sang the national anthem. They could have, I don't know, taken maybe a choke slam from Kane. You got to find out which performer this is in 20 questions. And here's a little I guess a little something I'll give you. You didn't use it last time, but I'll give it to you. You're able to make one phone call. You are able to make one phone call and get help from somebody. All right? If you're stuck and you need help. All right?
All right.
All right. So you let the questioning begin.
Okay, this performer was he in WrestleMania 1 to 10?
Yes.
All right. Is this performer is he somebody who the crowd appreciated?
You're assuming it's a he?
I said performer, didn't I?
Is this performer, what was the question again?
Somebody who the crowd appreciates.
No, I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that? Okay. 1 to 10. Is this performer, is he any wins 1 to 10?
Is he what?
Has he won any wins
No.
1 to 10?
No.
All right. Is this performer wrestled from 1 to 5?
No.
Is this performer had a gimmick that stood out over the years?
He's not one of the most memorable gimmicks, I wouldn't say. I would say it's a gimmick, but he's not a one that, top gimmicks ever.
Okay. Is this performer somebody who sold good merch?
No. You're at 6 questions so far.
All right. Is this performer somebody who didn't have a wrestling role?
A wrestling role?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I remember being in the ring.
Yeah, they were a wrestler.
So they never were a manager, never been a timekeeper,
Not in the WWF as this character.
So they've been a timekeeper and a referee.
No, not that.
Else.
Even if they were, it's not well known. You wouldn't know. Mind you, you still don't know if it's a he, a she.
You keep saying he, so I'm guessing it's he.
Okay, all right.
I
gave you a clue then.
You gave me the clue.
All right, I gave you a clue.
You keep saying he, so I'm guessing it's a he.
It's a he.
You're the one that's throwing it out there.
Yeah, yeah. I gave you that clue, so it's a he. I gave you that one for free.
Oh yeah, you gave me that one. Is he considered a high mid card?
No, you're at 8 questions.
So that would be okay. Is this performer lives outside of the United States?
No. Like, is he like hailed from England or
yeah.
No. He is not.
One more. Is this performer retired now?
Yes, he is well retired.
Okay, I know who it is. I think I know.
You know? Who is it?
Adam Bomb.
It is not Adam Bomb.
Well.
So that was a guess. I'm gonna let you slide with that one because that would have ended the game. But I'm gonna let you keep going. I'm gonna take away actually a question because you guessed Adam Bomb.
All right.
It's not Adam Bomb.
Yeah, because I thought you were actually gonna promote him.
It's not Adam Bomb.
Okay, is this person considered a heavyweight?
A heavyweight? I would say he's more like, I guess he could have won a heavyweight title, but I wouldn't say he's not like a Hogan size guy, or he's more like in the middle.
Was this wrestler in WrestleMania 12?
Well, remember you said 5 through 10, and I said yes. You said was he in 1 through 10, and I said yes, and then you said was he in 1 through 5, and I said no. But so I'm giving you a clue. So he was 6 through 10. He wasn't one of those. So he wasn't in 12.
Well, you gave me
so that's another hint. He was in 6 through 10. One of those.
Oh, 6.
I'm trying to help break your Gilbert streak.
Is this performer worked in Japan?
I don't know. So I won't even take away that question. I don't know for sure. I will say he's not like well known for like being an international wrestler.
He's not, international.
But I won't take a question away for that.
Is this performer known for quick matches?
I would say the match that he had, it was a quick one.
Okay, I'm gonna take one guess then.
You lose. Hey, if you guess this, it's over. You don't get any more questions.
That's fine.
You lose the game.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm ready for my Gilbert streak. I think it's Paul Roma.
It is not Paul Roma.
All right, good.
Man, you tapped out at 12 questions. I can't believe that. Let me play a clip of who this was.
Living out here in the glades really teaches you a thing or two about getting along. Like when you're out gator hunting, you gotta lie real still. So when they come swimming by, you can jump on them, take your knife, run it down their belly, and skin them. Just like I'm ready for you boys in the WW. I'm ready to skin you alive.
So the wrestler you were trying to guess was Skinner.
Well,
Skinner.
Skinner, Steve Kern.
So I thought that was like a big clue, and I said he was in a fast match or matches because he was in a really fast one at WrestleMania 8.
Yeah, but so was Paul Roma.
Yeah. Hey, Mighty, you still had 8 more questions that you just wanted to guess. You just wanted to get it over with?
Yeah, because like I couldn't think of any other questions to think about.
You could have made the phone call. One day we're gonna get somebody to make a random phone call.
You just want people to make a random phone call to somebody.
I just want to hear somebody's reaction to what the hell? Why are you calling me for this podcast? But for now, the Gilbert streak continues.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go to a quick commercial break, come back, and wrap things up.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. For body slamming WWF action in and out of the ring is WrestleMania Challenge for your NES and it's WWF Superstars for Game Boy, Battle of the Hulkster, Ultimate Warrior, and more from LJN.
Why do those Lord Alfred Hayes commercials make me feel warm in my stomach?
Because it's called nostalgia.
Yeah, I love those. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Yeah, but thanks again, Sexy Chino. That's the end of the show. Thanks again for coming back on. let the people know where they can find you and where they can find you on the medias and where they can actually find you performing as a wrestler.
Okay, if you want to check me out, it's at Dance Chino Dance, Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to find out where I wrestle here and there, I do a lot for at Wrestling Pro Wrestling, Instagram, or at Wrestling PW on Twitter. So yeah, it's even on YouTube. Just put Wrestling Pro Wrestling and you'll find it. Check it out.
I thought for this episode you were gonna plug your OnlyFans. No?
I am the only fan here.
Hold on. I went the whole episode. I couldn't go without pushing the button. But yeah, so as far as for me, just make sure you're following me on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, one of those. I'm at RetroTiburon, RetroTiburon. I also stream video games on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Same thing at RetroTiburon. If you have any questions or just want to say hey or any complaints about Sexy Chino, you can send me an email at retrotiburon@gmail.com. But yeah, that as for us, we're out of here. As always, we intro and we outro with the band Ternura, Ternura. Great band from Long Beach, California. Any last words?
Well, thank you for having me, and if I get called back again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be an intriguing trivia question. I think I do pretty decently on the knowledge of wrestling or how we talk. But when it comes to trivia question, I'm probably worse than any other guest or individual that has been going through this live podcast. So, yeah, remember.
One day, you got to keep the dream alive.
Hey, man, it's about learn to learn.
Yeah. Other than that,
Thank you for having me.
Sexy Chino, see you on the other side.